You're tuned into the Down East Bucks podcast with your host Tom Waters and Jim Toker. In this episode, we sit down with Timmy Bolduc and George Barker.
Second episode.
So Tim, I wanted to ask you, when did you start tracking? Like, when did you start doing it on your own?
I guess I was probably, I've been asked that, and I can't remember the exact year, but I was probably right around 22-ish, 23, somewhere in there. I'd been hunting for a while, too. I'd always hunted family, my dad, and locally, hunting kind of one way, and I got sort of exposed to, like, the Benoits and that, you know, the idea of tracking and stuff, and it was actually George's brother. And it just randomly one day he was like, "Hey, you ever heard of these guys?" And he's like, "Yeah, they're the Benoits. They live right in Vermont." And we just, I don't know. I think it started with a book, and that led to the DVDs and all that different stuff. And I just, to be really straight with you, I just saw the bucks they were shooting, and I was like, you know what I mean? I was just like, I was trying to kill big bucks and figured this whole thing out, and I saw all these pictures and the videos and all that different stuff, and it just made sense to me. And I was just like, man, I don't know, that works. Yeah. They're hunting in the Northeast, and seems like that's how. And I just dove into it. You know what I mean?
Because if you were like me, I watched it like when you were a kid. It was like, oh, Primetime Bucks is coming out. These guys are all like set up and whatever else, and then I'd go out into the woods expecting that as a kid. Like, how come I'm not? I suck at this. How come I'm not shooting something? So then I saw the Benoits, and I was like, oh man, you can do it here.
Yeah, it's
I just need to do what they're doing.
Just a total game changer. Like, it went from like, you know, being mediocre to like being able to target like big deer. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and that's all really what happened. It was just that, and I think like, you know, I'm not so sure that like tracking bucks in the mountains and stuff is for everybody, but I just happened to, it worked for me. You know, I just happened to like it and enjoyed it. And
yeah, something you got to try. You got to try it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I picked it up like pretty quick. Like I don't know. I was just kind of made for it in a way.
Yeah,
so,
I think there is like sometimes it just doesn't click.
Yeah,
it's not for you, and it's fine. You just hunt another way.
Yeah,
I am definitely made for the downhill version of the mountains.
He goes through. I had him through the mountains and everything last year, and we were heavy then.
Yeah,
I was 280 plus. I stopped weighing myself at 280 because I went and lost weight. And then once I hit 280, I said, all right, I'm not going to weigh myself anymore.
Yeah.
So, and
I weighed myself at the dump.
We decided this year. I put Jim in the back of the truck and put him on the scale.
Yeah.
But, we decided this year that we're just going to lose weight.
And,
yeah.
Go for it.
And really hunker down this time and focus. Like,
yeah, I think there's like a lot of people that, you know, want to watch it and do all that stuff, but it comes down to like there's a pretty small percentage of the actual hunters out there that are really, you know, because when you do it, like you're just going to see like it beats you up. It's just it's hard work, you know. It's like
every night.
Yeah, you know, it really is. It's just really hard work. It's almost like picking a career that, you know, like we were talking about it before we started recording and stuff, but being like a horseshoer, you know what I mean? Like horseshoeing is hard work. Like your back hurts and it's just really hard work. And like some people would do it for a week and be like, yeah, screw that. I'm going to a cubicle somewhere. And I get it. You know what I mean? But that's kind of what tracking deer, it's sort of along those lines. It just beats you up and you just have to learn to be comfortable in that pain. And
that's the biggest thing. Like if you have to buy a new pair of boots every year at work, that's, you know, you're doing hard work.
Yeah.
When you're buying a new pair of boots and you're in the woods for a month, every year, you know, you're doing some
it takes a beating on you.
Yeah, for sure.
The good thing is, though, you feel better every day you go. Like, your legs will burn, and then every day after you can do more and more and more. And it's
for sure. And
then you learn, like, a GPS. It kind of tells you where the crow flies. Like, it don't say that you got to go steep down this way, then steep up this way. So it is a lot of hard work, but it's definitely, at the end, it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It definitely can be rewarding when you earned it.
Helps to pay attention to the weather, too, because those swamps, sometimes you can get over them, sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
So if you're looking on the map and you see the swamp out there and you're like, well, I can get around, it's a good pinch point. But if it just downpoured for the last 2 weeks, a lot longer walk up, you got to account for it.
Yeah.
But like George was saying, you know, it's one of those things too, like And it's happened to us a couple times because back when we were younger, we used to take enough time off that you'll get enough into the season where it almost becomes easy. It's again like doing that really hard job that you're really struggling with for 2-3 weeks, and all of a sudden your body, it's like going to the gym. You're going to hurt a lot for the first 2 weeks, but then all of a sudden you hit that spot where you kind of just level out and you're able to just be in that comfort zone while you're doing it. And that's what happens. And it's only ever happened to me probably a couple seasons where we took enough time off, and there's this like spot you get to where like, man, you could look at that mountain in front of you and it's 3,000 feet, and like, dude, you'll just cruise up over that thing and be happy to do another one right out. You know what I mean?
You look back and you're like, I can't believe it.
Yeah. And I've only ever got there like a couple times, like a couple seasons where you were that in tune, and
you hear different, you even smell different. Like you can smell the surroundings. You can.
It's like you.
Yeah.
It's like you.
Leaves starting to change.
Oh yeah,
We
you
smelled
did.
the buck last year before.
Yeah. We were 80 yards away, and we could smell him. We snuck right in. And
You disconnect from like society and the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You turn into like this. It's a weird thing, but it's a really cool.
like an
Like when you.
instinctive feature.
Oh man,
Yeah.
it's a really neat feeling when you get there because. It's like you said, you hear things different. I mean, you smell different. You move in the woods different. You just turn into like the ultimate predator is what it is. You're just so in tune.
I think that's what I love about it is like that mindset change. Like you get out there and you're like, okay, it's me and this deer.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's like we get really lucky too. So like you think about it, last year we hunted over by my house on the 1,600 acres, and it's ridge after ridge and swamp.
It's rugged.
So we did that last year before we went north, and it's like, I mean, you're talking stuff that you're not walking down, and it's just in southern Maine. It's a small piece, but it's so much elevation change, so many big swamps.
You wouldn't expect it out there.
Yeah, you don't like you drive people. Literally, there's people probably listen that have driven by it 100 times and they've never even thought to even know what's in there.
Yeah.
But I noticed last year we hit that a lot last year, and then going up north, it was almost like, well, it's a lot easier this year.
Yeah.
Because before we were hunting like flatland, and then you get up north and you're like huffing and puffing for the first couple of days to get yourself acclimated to it. And I noticed last year, for me at least, hunting with him in that piece down by my house, getting those ridges made it so much easier the next week up north.
Oh yeah.
And it's crazy how it works that way.
That's why it's important to get out and scout, and once you've got areas scouted in, you're in better shape. So
Yeah.
Yep.
But it is a good feeling when you get there. It's hard to get yourself there, but like I said, you're an animal. You're an animal when you get to that spot. Like, I feel like when I get there, like any track you take, you know what I mean? Like, good luck to that deer. Right. It's just you're so dialed in and
you have to have that mindset.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like if you're thinking like, oh, he might get away, then he's gonna probably get away.
Yeah.
And that's like what we were talking earlier. Hunting with him, I know exactly what he's doing, and it's like last year, the year before is when it really clicked to me. Like, he's not fucking stopping.
Yeah, no, he is just pulling me out.
We've been in the woods, like I was telling you where those twins were, and we went down, and he told me, and it was the craziest for me learning experience. We had tracked him, 8 miles, and he turned around and looked at me. He says, 20 minutes, we're on him. We're starting. Those were like the night before's track.
Yep.
We got into this big apple pasture, and it was just
barnyard
everywhere. Barnyard, yeah, the barnyard. And I just stood back. He said, "Don't step in any tracks." I said, "You got it." So I stood back and just watched him just work everything out. He started taking off. I walked around, went to him, and it was a couple hours, and we were right on him. And he goes, 20 minutes. We had to slide. Remember that ridge? We slid down. It was starting to melt out quick, and we slid down on our butts to get down to the bottom of the ridge. And went down into the thick stuff, and they literally were right there. It was like 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
I was like, holy smokes, like this is, I started late, and these guys have been doing it forever. And I was like, holy shit, like there is a whole different mindset to not just, follow the tracks, but it's like watch the tracks, learn the tracks, figure out what they're doing, see how fast they're going, see how slow they're going.
Well, a good point on that is when those deer jumped off, because I ended up screwing up. I moved too quick. And it was like 2:00.
Yeah, it was late.
Dark by 4, especially up there. And the deer jumped into this river that was probably waist deep. I think it was about waist deep.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see. You could step into a hole or whatever. But the deer jumped over there, and I looked at him and I said, these are the 2 biggest bucks I've ever, like the tracks. They just had big feet. They might not have been like big giant, but it was one of those tracks that are like,
get you excited, get your blood.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to take risks that you normally wouldn't.
Yep. Did you guys go across the river?
I tried to get him to go across the river, but that was his first like real northern trek.
Right.
Yeah.
That was the first year I'd ever gone north to hunt. I've always hunted, down by us. And his grandmother always told me, she goes, "You take care of my Tommy." And she was like, I love my grandmother, but Grammy was like the grandmother that I always wished I had.
Yeah.
Dirt road cookies. Just like what you want out of a grandmother.
Just the picture perfect. If you could have a picture of a perfect grandma, she was it.
Yeah.
She told me, and she says, "You take care of my Tommy." So by the time we got to the river, when they jumped over, it was like 3:00, and we were 8 miles through the truck as a crow flies, and it was up steep ridges, across swamps. And I looked at Tommy and said, "We're not going. We're not doing it. We have a half-hour daylight." And like on the first podcast, I said, I always had duck boots, the bean boots.
Yeah.
So they're great for the first 2 inches of water.
Yeah.
After that, you're soaked.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I said, I'm not getting my feet wet. It was getting cold. It was getting dark. And I said, I'm not doing it. And then I was like, I know he's going to be mad at me for the next week. I know it. But I'll take that any day, because once we go across that river, we're not stopping.
Yeah.
And it's not like we were heading across the river towards the road or towards the truck. We were heading into 30,000 acres of who knows what.
Yeah.
Another dam.
But I didn't want him to get discouraged. So
Right.
that's
It was
why
a
I didn't want him
perfect
to have a bad experience. So it was more important, even though I really wanted those. And there were 2 bucks running side by side.
Yeah.
And when they took off, we were on those cedars or whatever they are down there.
Yeah.
And we were standing there. We're like, don't. He's always telling me, don't move. Just stay right here. Listen. So we were standing there. Well, deer can stand still way longer than we can.
Oh, yeah.
And we were there quite a while, and we finally made that move. And you could see both sets of feet underneath the trees. Not even, 25 yards.
We tried going up. There was 2 tote roads, and I was like, let's cut up the middle and see if we can peek through the woods and catch them in the tote road. I say tote road, but it's a skidder trail.
Yeah.
Right. Old skidder road.
Right. And anyway, we ended up jumping them off because they spotted us in the woods and we couldn't see them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured that out too.
Yeah.
That happens though. Yeah, you can't get discouraged. Yeah, because
You're taking your best guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And that
It
was the
wasn't
same
the
year.
best.
We got so I'll tell you, and I don't know how people feel about bears, but I'm a big dude, and
Well, that was the next
the same
day.
size as them. The next day, we walked down, and it was all those tall maple whips that are 7 feet tall, and you walking in, they hit you in the face.
I was trying to get drier ground. I was like,
Right.
I don't want that to happen again.
So we
Let's
went
get
the
dry ground.
opposite way, and
Found a nice buck track.
nice buck track, and then way down at the end, you can barely see through that stuff, and this buck looks at me, and Tommy's behind me at this point, and I'm like, oh boy.
Because it's stuff that you're pushing
Yeah.
through, holding your arms up, and then you're in an opening.
Yeah.
So we went after him, and he brought us into this peat moss bog is the only way I can explain it. You walk and it's all that flat grass that you can kind of walk on for who
Only
knows how
pines
long.
grow there.
Yep.
And we're standing there, and there was a group of deer. I don't know if it was the does that buck was
Buck and a
chasing, and you could see their feet kind of up on the hill. So we're stopped. We're waiting there, and I'm looking around. I don't like bears. I don't know what it is. I just don't like them. I'm going to get past it, though.
They're not going to hurt you. You know that,
I know.
right?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. So this...
It's not a grizzly.
I know, and it's just that mental game, So I used to help a guy that guided bear hunts with dogs, and I watched a dog get hurt, and I'm a wicked animal guy, and I was like, no more.
You don't want to be that dog.
Yeah, I don't want to be that dog. So we're in there, and 70 yards away, all of a sudden, this big growl. Of course, now I'm pumping. So that Uncle Tom shot that deer that morning. That was that same morning. So his Uncle Tom came up, shot an 8-pointer, and we went down. So I usually carry a sidearm with me just in case, just if I'm out there, whatever. I don't know. Paranoid, I guess. And no sidearm on me, no extra mag for my gun. So I'm like, this just doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy at all. And that bear growls, and he looks at me and goes, that's a moose. And I'm like,
As soon as I heard that bear growl, I
I
go,
go, I'm no idiot. That's not
Just a moose.
Yeah, man. And so then we wait a couple minutes, and that thing gets closer. And I mean, it's screaming.
it's 30 yards probably. We can't see it.
And mind you, this is my first time hunting up north. The guy that we stayed at his cabin, the bears are already denned up. So I'm like, okay, good. That makes me feel better. So now I got that little extra confidence.
We had about a foot of snow.
Yeah, there was snow. It was cold, and he got closer. And he goes, "It's just a moose." And I'm sitting there. I'm like, "Don't tell me it's just a moose." Well, it started shaking the trees coming towards us, and I'm like, "I'm out of here, dude. Time for me to go." And we walked out, and then I'm walking. I wear a size 14
That's an
boot.
effing bear. I'm out of here.
His boot, his bear, the tracks that he was making were the same size as my boot.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And I go,
Yeah.
I am out of here, dude. So I took off. I went right back towards the truck. So I sat
That
down.
is a good bear.
Well, as soon as he said that, he goes, "That's a big fucking bear." And I'm sitting, I finally get back to the maple whips, and I sit down. I'm huffing and puffing. I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Oh, God, where's Tommy?" Of course, he's like, second day in a row. This fucking guy, So I start walking back down to make sure nothing happened, and he goes, "How'd you get out of here so fast?" I go, "Dude, I was terrified. Not gonna lie to you." But like the 2 years after
kept
that,
speed up. You could have just hydroplaned.
I know,
across
like those lizards on TV that run across water. But the last 2 years, like we were in a spot 2 years ago that was like bear country, and I was like, I'm done. Like it was that like initial fear of like.
Well, we tried the other side of the main road.
Oh yeah,
And it was nothing but bear tracks. So I'm like, whoa.
So he set me up for failure that year. But after that, I think it's what it needed because, like I said, I got hunting late, and I never had that real exposure, to like being 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 with a bear. And I just after that, I was like, you know what?
And it's really tough to hold back.
Yeah.
Like not get pissed at your buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I'm not gonna lie. It was.
I almost didn't go next.
It was
year.
testing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted him to have, like I said, have a good experience.
Right.
And then, ever since then, he's always wanted to go with me. So.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at it, and he's like, "Well, there could be bears." And I'm like, "Dude, I don't care anymore." Like, so 2 years ago, nor was that
He
last
just carries
year?
a grenade now.
You're coming with me.
That's like a common thing, like back when we were younger, you never saw bear tracks in snow.
No.
Never.
No.
Like I feel like in the last 10 years or something,
weird, yeah.
it's weird, but now I'll see bear tracks in the snow.
Right.
But when we were younger, you never saw that. So I don't know if it's climate or what, but something's changing with that
Yeah.
for sure.
Could be food sources or something.
Could be, I don't know what it is, but
Right. The
now,
big logging outfits
yeah,
and all
now
that
it's not that
business.
really uncommon to,
Wow.
cut a bear track in snow. But
Yeah, I guess I needed to get it out of my system. Like,
Yeah.
that place where we were going last year, where you shot at that big one, that was like bear country, and I was like, dude, let's go. Like, I get a little heebie-jeebies, when you drop down into that real cold area, and you're like, all right, they're here,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah,
But-
I missed a nice. He was good 220, 230.
Yeah.
The beautiful cape looks like a Angus beef
yeah,
Yeah,
cow. The way his shoulders were shaped. And
yeah,
we found his shed, and the base of that antler was like that big around. I'm like, holy smokes! Because I missed the first day, so I had to work that day, and then I went up Tuesday, and he's calling me. He's like, I shot this deer, blah blah blah, and so I went up, and you want to tell the story about my second there in the woods, behind the truck.
So I was like, there's multiple deer in there, multiple bucks, and he's happy with shooting one that's, and I am too, depending on the season. But
I'll shoot anything.
I was like, there's like a 170 pounder in there. There's a huge one in there, and then one that's right around two, right around the dot. And so we get down there, he backs in, and at the time we smoked cigarettes.
Only during
we don't
deer
smoke
season.
anymore. Yeah,
Oh yeah, we don't
we don't
smoke
smoke
anymore.
anymore. Insurance is listening. But anyway, so we get out of the truck and kind of lackadaisical, just one of those sleepless nights because I had shot at the buck the day before. And I'm kind of like, damn.
yeah.
It's like blew it second day in. But my red dot was off. That's why I shoot scope now. But we get out and Jim's like, should we get the guns out of the cases? I'm like, let's just smoke this cigarette first.
Let's think about it.
So he's got the tailgate down, got the door open.
Had my sidearm.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there and hunting in southern Maine, you're so used to turkeys, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, is that a fucking turkey coming up? What's going on here? So, mind you, I used to leave a gun for my wife at the door. So it was up high, never had it loaded. So if something happens, just load it, you got it. So didn't think I had to work Monday, so I left Monday night or Tuesday morning, whatever it was. I think it was Monday night. Never jacked around into the gun. Just, it's my concealed carry gun. Didn't think of it. Get up there. We're smoking a cigarette. I hear it. I'm going, that's a turkey. I go, I didn't know turkeys were this far north. Or didn't expect them to be that far north. I'm sitting there and all of a sudden, 8-pointer, I don't know, probably 170, 180 pounds.
Yeah,
At the time, it was the biggest deer that I would have ever shot, And I'm like, holy smokes. And the guy had just, so, up north, a lot of people just drive the roads.
Oh, yeah.
And they see you walking, they start razzing you up, Or maybe they don't, maybe they do. Well, that day, guy drove by and he goes, "Go get him, boys. Good luck." Like, razzing us up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, now it's on.
Yeah.
He shot at one, like, literally 150 yards that way.
Because they were road hunter. They don't get out of the truck.
Yeah.
And that 8-pointer walks up and I pull my gun out. I said, Maine state law, under 8 inches, I can shoot him, with a pistol. And pulled up, and I'm pulling the trigger. I shoot my gun quite a bit. I'm sitting there and I'm going, all right, maybe I'm nervous. So he's staring at me, and out of habit, I always put my gun to the ground to rack around. Well, I should have kept my eyes on him, but I didn't. I had both hands on it. I should have just pulled it back, and he would have been dead right there. But he took off, and I'm like, I've heard stories of this.
We had a spiky run by us that same day.
Screaming.
We thought, I was like, oh, he's getting chased off by a big buck. So he's coming down this ridge, and I'm getting ready, and Jim's like, can I take him? You want me to take him? I'm like, it's up to you, bud. And then we saw a coyote. I said, nope, let him go. Shoot that coyote. But that coyote, those things move so.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, it was almost like he moved before the bullet was out of the gun. Like he knew it was coming.
So the deer, and it was funny too. So the first shot I took, they're screaming, and that coyote just like a blink of an eye, I shot it, blew a tree apart. Like, oh, I missed that one.
That spiky looked back though, like he was so grateful.
He looked back, he's like, thank you.
Yeah.
And he kept running that way. And that second shot on that coyote, he just like in an instant turned and went that way. I'm like, all right, he's coming back into the road. Bang! Hit another tree. I'm like, man, that's wild. It was cool to see. I haven't seen that before.
But people think, like the old worn out bucks, and that was a healthy spike.
Right.
New young buck.
Yep. Yeah, I think they take coyotes, get them all. They get young ones, old ones. It's just
they don't discriminate.
Nope.
They're hungry. They're gonna eat whatever.
Yeah. No, they are.
I've still never got a coyote. All these years in the woods, and I've still not shot one coyote.
You haven't got a coyote yet?
Never.
I got that one that you pushed out to me that time.
I pushed one to him one time. Yeah, I did a deer drive for him, and he shot a beautiful coyote.
And he let me use the muzzleloader was. So I had this. I didn't know the scope was cranked all the way up. So I'm only like 40 yards from it. So I see it coming. And I'm like, man. So I'm looking through the scope, and I'm like, this thing is huge. I think this thing must weigh like 200 pounds. Right? So I shot it. I couldn't miss. The scope was like right on its side, So we're going to look for it. I'm like, God, thing's massive, 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 And then I walk over to the side. The thing's only it's like 35 pounds or something. But I'm thinking it's like, I almost didn't take it, but because the scope was so cranked up. But that was funny. I still
got me a wolf.
Yeah, it was a nice coyote too. Really nice one.
I shot a couple deer hunting.
Yeah.
Mostly just that one. I was sitting actually when I shot that one. Then the other one I shot in Gilmerton, I was sitting. It came underneath me, but But I was going to go back to when you were talking about, because everybody makes mistakes, I think, or you learn from trial and error. It's like when you were talking about crossing that brook where you jumped those 2 bucks from being bedded.
Yeah.
You'll learn 2 o'clock, whatever it was. At first, when we used to go at 2 o'clock, we'd kind of want to head back, and then you learn which bucks maybe you should give it a little bit more, and which if you're going following a buck on a ridge and he's bumping does out of beds, just looking for something hot, and he keeps going and going and going, and you might not catch him.
Runners,
but then the one that you said that you got him from a bed, if you probably would have crossed that brook, he might only win a couple hundred yards. You might have just been able to creep up there and get him because he really wasn't. He really seemed like he would have jumped a brook, maybe ran 100 yards and kind of slowed down and been looking back, and you might have. So certain ones in it's trial and error. We've left bucks that we wish we would have kept going on, Right. So I think that's all part of learning and taking that extra risk. And now when you hunt with 2 people, I'd go with Timmy, and I might have an ever-ready flashlight with those batteries that are junk, and then Timmy might have some fancy one. So when there's 2 of you, somebody's got to have a halfway decent light, or somebody got a piece of rope, or at least they can write you a note or tell people that you love them when they don't find you. I don't know.
So I don't even go with a GPS. Or nothing.
Yeah, we go
He's
real
got Onyx, and occasionally I'll be all right, how far are we or whatever.
Well, you know how they say homing pigeons, they have magnets in their nose?
Yeah.
You ever heard that?
I haven't.
This guy has got some sort of metal in his nose that he can
He knows north.
Dude,
he always knows where north is.
Yeah, and it's cool for me. So I got Onyx to hunt southern Maine, so you can kind of figure out where you can be, where you can't be. We go up north, and I'm just I'll look at Onyx to see if we're coming into something nasty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't even need a GPS. we've been out last year, or 2 years ago, we were out, and I'm like, dude, I think the truck's quite a ways away. He goes, no, it's not. I go, how do you know? He goes, it's not. And we came out a total opposite side of where we parked the truck, and he literally dropped us within like 50 yards of the truck.
Yeah.
And it was just, it's cool to see when you have that type of hunting
It's a
buddy.
weird like instinct.
Some people have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Some people don't, never will. I don't actually.
Ronnie.
My dad, yeah, he gets thinking about too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's just
I don't have that, but you know what I do have is I pay attention.
Yeah.
I always know, like, yeah, I went by, up and over this mountain and down and around this way. So I'm always like,
try to log it a
you know what I
little
mean?
bit.
I'm logging it, but I don't have like a natural instinct of like, okay, which direction is north right now? Timmy, go. And
Right,
yeah, but I do pay attention. Yeah, and
Yeah, I'm the same way. I more or less pay attention. Like you might notice a big flat ridge way from the distance, but you know that you went in, but you're looking at it or it's at your
Right.
back, stuff like that. But yeah, the thing about GPS, because when we first started, everything was new. You know what I mean? They didn't have really the greatest GPSs, but then as we went, there wasn't like the Onyx maps. But I mean, in a way, the GPS is kind of neat though, as far as like you can drive the roads and leave your track. So then if you do shoot a deer, you can say, well, man, it's a couple miles back that way, but actually we drove around over there and we got our tracks there, so we could just go down this way. So it's kind of good as far as letting you.
And it seems like it's kind of like, that's like a big advantage too, from when you guys started hunting. Now we can look on a phone and say, okay, well, there's a road right here.
Oh, Onyx changed everything.
Yeah, see, I'm not
it's
familiar.
definitely
with
like they tell me about the features, and I'm like, okay, it's
Yeah.
it sounds really good.
It changed the game. It definitely did. It's so much easier. Like,
But for bow hunting, like, I think I'm going to use it just because
Right.
of wind direction and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You got to pay attention to that a little more
Yeah.
when you're sitting or whatever.
I think the biggest thing is like use it as a tool, but don't rely on it as
Yeah,
like,
that's-
oh, this
that's
is the
the
only
thing.
way. You know what I mean? That's the
Big time.
ticket. Is
That's
like
the biggest thing. That's why I
yeah,
haven't. I'm
keep
like,
your
I'll
skills.
rely on it. So,
Yeah,
like,
you know, it's like a GPS in your truck.
Yeah.
It's cool to know how to read a map, but it's also nice to be able to just punch it in. But you still should know how to read a map. You know, like
Right.
Yeah.
and navigate. So that's the biggest thing.
Or even
But-
just a compass to know that no matter what happens, I know the road's going this way and that way. So if
Yeah.
I
Right.
get lost, I come out east. I'm going to hit the road. It might be a mile that way or 5 miles that way, but I'll get it. So yeah.
Right.
Well,
Well,
that's like his-
I started like putting a compass in there just in case I get injured, because you get injured too bad out there,
Right.
then your mind's
Oh, yeah.
not where.
Oh,
your
yeah. Then you
senses
start
are.
second guessing stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because GPS is a great, but like sometimes if you got to go to the bathroom and you slip, and I've whacked them and had them not work, had just turned blank, and then you're like, oh sweet.
Or if you
Well,
have
and
holes
we're-
in your pockets.
Where we
Yeah.
were hunting, that guy told us to look out for wells because there's like
Yeah.
abandoned like camps and stuff out there with big open wells like you can fall into. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not good.
Yeah. But it's funny because people joke because I carry around like a pack. So that was another thing when we went up there when that bear was in there. So we used to bring snacks with us. Like,
We're
we
back
had,
to the
like-
bear.
Yeah. So we had like nutty buddies.
Yeah.
Like, we had, like, all that junk food that you shouldn't have with you anyways. But so I'm walking around like, I'm a rolling vending machine for this guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Fridge, yeah.
and there's bear bait barrels up top of donuts. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't good.
Yeah.
But
You know, the best thing to do is like I figured out like early, and I heard Larry Benoit talk about this one time, and he's like, you got to just clear your mind. Your mind has to be clear. Like when you're on a buck track, dude, and like that thing is out in front of you somewhere, I just have the stuff with me that makes me so I don't have to worry about anything else. Like I have a lighter, I have food, water, all the things that I need to get through. You know what I mean? I just have the stuff with me that and I've learned to do that. Like you just shut your mind off to everything else.
Well, then if you start thinking about the food, you're gonna want to go back to the truck.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it just clogs your mind up. You just think, you know what I mean? It's like even having, like, I love being in a place where, like, just no cell service. I can use my Onyx, but, like, I don't want I don't even want to see a text message. I don't even want to see, like, oh, I missed a call.
And
I don't,
it's just like, oh, I
none of
can't.
it. None of it. I don't even want to deal with any of it. Like I said, and I've learned, like, with me, anyways, that's the mindset I got to be in. I don't want to deal with anything. I could, if I didn't even, if I wouldn't even bring my cell phone with me if it wasn't for Onyx. I'd leave it right in the truck. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with anything. Because I've learned, like, you just have to be in that mindset. You just got to be like, it's just you and that buck today, and that's it. That's nothing else. You can't be worrying about, like, if your kids got sick or if your wife's looking for you. There's nothing you can do about it out here anyways.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're hours
So-
and hours away.
yeah. Yeah, you know, it's just one of those things. You just deal with it when you get back, you know? But right now, in this today,
moment.
I'm not dealing with any of it.
Well, what helped me with that was I would think like my uncles, my grandfather, all of them went to deer camp hours away, and they barely had landlines.
Yeah.
right.
So like, and we survived.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, like I look at it too, like life is so crazy, and we all deal with all that stuff on a day to day. You're worrying about your kids, you're worrying about your wife, all work, all the different stuff.
Right.
Like I've kind of learned, like, I think that's what makes me feel so good about being in the mountains and being alone like that. It almost like cleanses and gets you zeroed back in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it feels good to disconnect from that.
Like a refresher.
It's like a refresher.
Hit the reset button.
Yeah, when I come out of the season, it's like I feel like a mountain man, and all it is we're really just getting back to the roots of what we're actually supposed to be like, anyways. But we live in a society now where, like, you're just in the hustle bustle, and it's normal and it's fine, but that's really not that normal. We really should be spending more time.
Exactly.
What I'm talking about,
doing
right?
Fun stuff.
Exactly. Well, that's like the like Joe Osgood. You know, his big thing is like that. Those keychains they gave out at the film festival was like basically to like get kids into the woods. You know what I mean? And that's like the most important thing. Like they used to teach hunter safety or gun safety in schools. Well, now it's like you can't even say gun in a school. You know, and it's getting so far away from what humans should be doing. You know.
I think we're so unnatural for what we were designed to be. Like,
sure.
It's so unnatural at this point.
Right.
And like I said, the only time I actually truly feel normal is when I go do that.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, do I love to get a big buck and all that stuff? Yeah, I do. But like, as you age, it's kind of weird. Like, you go through stages in life and stuff. And like, I can feel that like now it's not so much about the deer. It's more about like the journey and being out there and getting to that spot.
Memories.
Yeah,
That's
you know,
why I
it's
tell
all
them,
that
don't-
stuff.
Don't worry about, like, if it's a 200 pounder. If you like the buck and we're having a great day, then let's shoot them, and that's going to be an awesome memory. Like, it doesn't matter.
And to be clear, like the way like what I just said, that's new to me. Like, it's always been about different, but now I'm like just seeing it in a different way, and I've realized it's like the journey and that time spent, whether I get one or not. I want to get out in the woods and just go disconnect.
Four wheel and head up a road, see what's up there, get up, hike around. It's fun.
Well,
Eat a sandwich in the middle of nowhere. That's like fun too. You're in 4 hours in the woods in the middle of nobody probably ever sat on the rock you're sitting on, eating a sandwich, listening, and somehow the birds follow you up there. And
That's a big, like, some people get turned off, like they see, like, even the tracking, like all the guys shooting the big bucks and stuff, and then they go out and try it, and then they're expecting, like, okay, I'm gonna shoot a big buck. But you don't have to.
Nope.
It's just,
I think the biggest thing is like we were
caught
talking
up with
earlier. It's a lot of work.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just like it's not for people that just see real tree on TV. You know what I mean? That just think they're going to go out and see 20 deer in the field. You got to put in the effort. Same with anything you do. Like when you guys started shooting, it wasn't just something you just picked up right away. You know what I mean?
Nope.
It's something you work at. You kind of hone your craft.
well, that's like 2021. What I was talking about with the bucks is like, we both shot 4-pointers that year.
Right.
And I shot him on the last day. I'd had that miss that same year.
Yep.
And it was the last day, last half hour, and he was 100 and, I don't know what you're
162 yards.
Yeah.
trotting through the woods, and I was like, I want to see if I can hit him.
Yep.
And I ended up dumping him over, and that was fun. Like, I can't believe we did that.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to us, like.
And that's like with you guys too, is like the stories like him and like we told you earlier, we hunt together. When I'm in the woods, he's right next to me. And you guys said you guys have done that a lot. You know what I mean?
Ton.
Like, so the stories that you guys have, that
I got to keep the
we
bears
have,
away.
Yeah. It's good if you get the right partner. Like, you know, I've heard both. I've heard people like, oh, it's really hard to kill big bucks with 2 people. And yeah, there's an argument for that. But then the flip side is, I feel like when you get that, like, the right person and you guys work together correctly, like, it's almost, to be honest with you, you could almost make the argument it's better to have somebody.
We've even done a bow hunt.
Yeah.
Stocked up on it.
But you know, like, it's kind of cool because there's times where, like, you know, you might be down and getting a little discouraged, but he's up and upbeat. Right. Like, oh, hey, let's just keep going. It's good.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's
there's
times where it's like you level each other out. And I don't think it works with just anybody. It has to be the right person. Right. You know, you guys gotta whatever. It's just gonna be the right person.
Right, because you're on bare ground. There's no snow. You're in Canada somewhere in Ontario. Yeah. You got like 4 days left, 2 days left on the hunt. You've been hunting, walking all day. You're on bare ground, trying to track this other buck that we find. Timmy, you got him. Timmy whacked him actually, but yeah, it can be a mind game. You know, you just keep roaming and just looking for. Oh, he touched that over there. Keep walking. It looks like he went this way, and then next thing at the end, it all works out. You know, so
yeah, I know there's definitely been times where, like, if I had been by myself, I'd have been heading back to the truck.
Right.
But he was like, nah, man, like we're here. Let's just, you know what? Let's just stay at it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's all I needed. But if he wasn't there, I probably would have been back, you know?
You guys are fuel for each other.
Oh yeah.
You know,
It just kind of keeps you motivated. But if you can have one person out of the two that just, yeah, no, let's just keep moving. Let's keep doing this. And like, you know, it definitely helps a lot.
I definitely would suggest if like someone's scared of the wood, like not necessarily scared, but nervous to be out in the big woods by themselves.
Oh yeah.
Because that holds a lot of people back too.
Tons of people.
Just get a partner to go with.
Yeah, and just having that partner, like now you know, you're in it, you get to feel it, you realize it's okay, and then, you know, that'll eventually hopefully lead to like you can go on your own, no big deal.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, like nowadays, like I can understand the argument of being afraid of the woods, but just for the viewers to be clear, like this day and age, you're good.
Somewhere.
Like
you're gonna hit something.
Yeah,
especially in Maine.
I heard somebody say this, and they said there's no place left in Maine, in probably the Northeast, 4 miles in one direction. If you ever got messed up, just look at the sun, pick a direction, 4 miles. You're gonna hit. You know what I mean? A winter road, something. You're gonna hit a path, a road, whatever.
And you're gonna survive.
You're
gonna
absolutely
survive at least. You could. Who knows how long you could survive?
Well,
Yeah.
thing is too is a lot of people don't understand like the logging industry. If you find a point in the skidder trail,
Yep,
you're heading out.
exactly right.
They're not ever going to point in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's if you haven't been in the woods and you do get turned around and you're in skidder roads, find that point.
Yep.
You know, they're all going to go to one spot, and then once you hit there, find the most beaten down path, and you're on your way out.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to lead you to the swamp.
Could be miles, but you'll get out.
Yeah.
Right.
And that right there, to be honest with you, is probably on the top of the list of what holds a lot of people back.
I know guys
Most
that
people
only hunt private land
Yep.
because they're too nervous to
Yep.
go out.
Yep. Yeah, and it's like I said, I think back in the day when, like, you know, in the 50s, 60s and stuff, it was all, what I'm saying would not apply, but nowadays
Right.
it's
Well, like in
you're
my
good.
mind too, I'm like, all right, my ancestors were fighting wars all by themselves out in the woods with people shooting at them. I think I can make it out
Yep.
when I'm hunting deer. Like,
Yep.
Yeah. And the bears were a lot meaner back then.
Yeah. And then the other thing too is just, you know, like just a simple Bic lighter.
Yeah.
Like you're good. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's 0 degrees.
Get a little space blanket.
Whatever. Like you're gonna survive with just a Bic lighter. So if you can just eliminate like that worry by just having the things you need with you, like cool, out of your mind.
Right.
You
The way I
know?
look at it is like I'm camping when I'm in the woods, so I bring the backpack. I bring extra water for me or him.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, like one of those little fold up, those little 4x4 squares that fold out to those emergency blankets.
Yep.
You don't really need much more than that.
Yeah.
We had all that stuff. Yeah, we carried those little candles, matches, wet
Yeah.
matches you could start up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of it mentally makes you feel better when you're going in there, but
Right.
as long as
It
you
might
have it,
it
you're
would
good.
probably never happen to you, but it gives you that little.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like a pacifier almost for
Yeah.
I've never spent a night in the woods. I've never had to.
No.
I've always, never had to. But I definitely am thankful I don't clog my mind up with worrying about that because you know what I mean? You can't do it. It's like trying to write a book with
That's
your
what I
kids
was kinda
screaming.
getting
You know what I mean? Like you just got to get yourself in the right,
Yeah.
you know? So yeah, nothing to be afraid of.
No.
And you'll do it a bunch of times too. Like that's the thing too, is like if you are nervous about it or whatever, like do it a handful of times and then you'll be like, okay, good, I got it. You know, and then you're just like, all right, it's good.
And that goes back to that. And I know we're going back to the bear, but that was my first year up there. First year being in the woods. You know what I mean? Like up north. And after that we spent 5 days, 4 days, or whatever it was in the woods. After that, it was like, okay, well, this is nothing.
Yeah.
It's just like home, but the roads are gravel. You know what I mean? But
Yeah. Yeah, nothing to worry about.
no.
And it's fun once you get up there. It's fun once you get to
Oh,
a
yeah.
spot where you're up and down and over a ridge and up on the
Yeah.
other side and there's nothing around. It's a pretty good feeling.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Sightseeing, you know what I mean? Like you're hunting and you're getting to see stuff, you know, like we went up last year and we hunted the same piece of woods that we hunted the year before. And we went up the top of this hill. I won't call it a mountain, but a hill. I don't know what it was elevation. And we stopped at the end of it. And we're like, okay, well, we can go down this way, go that way. We chose whatever way we went. And we went up last year. We went up the front side of it. And 60 yards from where we were standing, found a cow moose skull.
Yeah.
I was like, well, how cool would that have been? It was all chewed up. I said, well, if we went 60 yards further last year,
Yeah.
you know, so there's always something to see out there.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, yeah.
I love getting on those tracks too and let those big bucks bring you out into those places way out in the back somewhere where just no hunters ever get to and they bring you into these little holes and you get it, you know, those are cool places to find right there.
Yeah, where we get fortunate in Maine is, like we were saying, most people hunt the roads. So
Yeah.
all you got to do is walk, a mile in the woods, and most people haven't been there since they were logging it 40, 50 years ago.
Exactly.
And a mile is pretty fast. You can do a mile. I mean, a mile's no time. Bing, bang, boom. A mile's like nothing.
Right. Oh, yeah. Big
Mile's
time.
nothing.
Yeah.
No, miles goes fast.
Probably walk more than that at a shopping mall.
Yeah.
I don't go to those, but.
Yeah, it's cool though. You follow those bucks around in that vast country. You do it enough, and you'll end up with a handful of those places right in your mind that turn into good places to go find tracks when there is snow, not from the road. Like I've got a ton of places in the area I hunt just from following deer, just following bucks, and now I know 2 miles out there is an awesome place. It's a gut in the hill and good place to go find a track, So like they'll show you all those places. Next thing you know, 10 years goes by and you got a handful of those places to go to and just keep repeating through and, but yeah, those bucks will show you all those spots.
Yeah, because even like now, like you're better off like how he says, it's heading, because you start driving the roads, like we've learned years ago that kind of dies out. Like now there's so many roads that you can check this road, he's going here, or you might not even find a good one, but they're going there, but then there's a road a mile over when he goes through this piece. So you're almost better off to find the pieces that are kind of no too much stuff around and get up in there and just do it on foot more so. But when we were younger, we started doing it.
We shot bucks for
20
years
ago,
off just finding tracks off the road.
But now things have changed, so you gotta.
Yeah, the bucks definitely have evolved. Me and him have got to watch that because when we were younger, like we just get up in the morning, like, oh man, you'd be the first person on the logging road system, the only person on the logging road system, and we just go drive around, find the track you wanted, park your truck, and wait for it to break light and go. But now, like, I mean, it's just so popular and stuff that like you could get up at 3:00 in the morning and there's 2 trucks that have already been on that road. It's crazy. It's just crazy. But what happened was, it gets discouraging when like, again, you get up at 3:00 in the morning to go to be the first person on the logging road system to go cut a track and, somebody's already been in there. But then I've followed bucks like down off of mountains, 2 roads, 50 yards away, parallel it, and then go right back up. Like I've got to watch these bucks like evolve to like, I ain't crossing that thing. Because every time I do, at 11 o'clock, somebody's, jumping me out of my bed. So, so the bucks have definitely evolved. So that's like a new thing in the last, I don't know, at least probably 7, 8, 9 years for me. Like, I don't even waste my time anymore. Look, good driving roads too much. I've got those areas that the bucks have shown me, and now I'll just commit and just go hike into them.
I think a lot of that too is like learning like what the hunters, like those trucks are actually doing. Like, where we were last year, those guys didn't get out of the truck. And if they did, they only went 50 yards.
Sure.
Right.
So I was like, let's just go look and we'll find an older track. Followed it. And you could watch where these bucks were going past the people. Like, I remember Lanny telling a story. Like where these guys, the buck just went past these tree stands perfectly. I'm tracking them like, that's just out of sight. I could see where the guy would sit, but the buck could sneak through.
Right. Yeah.
And it's crazy.
Yep.
And you can always tell those people because at the end of the day, when you're driving out and it's freezing out and your truck's all messed and frozen still, and you get to like the first store and you're like, man, I'm gonna grab a coffee for the ride back to camp, and then you go in there and there's like 3 guys that everything's like
dry,
not wet. And then you get the guys that are dragging ice. Everything. That's the guy you talk to. At least he's been. He's gave it 100% just like you have, and those are always you can always just.
Oh, my dad
things.
comes back and looks like he went for a swim every time.
Yeah.
Found another swamp.
That's the big joke. So his dad's a lot shorter than I am, and he's just quick. He's like a rabbit through the woods. So we used to hunt a spot down by us, and he goes, "You want to hunt with me?" I said, "Yeah, sure." I hadn't hunted with his dad before.
And I looked like, okay.
Yeah. He goes,
I didn't say nothing.
Have fun. I'm like, okay. So we're going through, and we're going through like those like pucker brush that like intertwine together, and there's like a hole in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm 6'3", 400 pounds. I don't fit.
My dad's meat hunting too, so he'll go through those doe trails.
He blazed through the trails, and like halfway through the day, I look at him like, Ronnie, I'm beat, dude. Like, I need to take a break. He goes, well, we're not going to get a deer. You take a break. All right. So I kept going. When we got out of the woods, I looked at Tommy and I go,
never again.
He can have that.
Yeah.
We're going through swamps that people don't walk through.
Yeah.
You're like crawling through them, and I'm like,
well, he's lighter. He floats across.
Well, I thought I had buoyancy. But yeah, it's crazy to see the different styles. Like his brother Chris has got a whole different style. He tracks and he sits a lot. He'll do like the hanging off those, what are the seat things? Like
Saddles.
He'll do those things. I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
But it's cool to have, I get a little bit of information from all them guys. So,
but that's after he's tracked around and seen repeat
Yep.
the same buck.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mine are just sitting here instead of bumping them up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
I think we all morph into like our personalities. You know what I mean? Like,
so cool.
Lee Libby said that to me one day.
Anybody.
He's like, you hunt like your personality. And I never gave that any thought, but he is right about that. If you're like an aggressive, hardworking you're probably going to be like a buck tracker following tracks everywhere. If you're kind of, you know what I mean, more reserved and take it kind of easy, you're probably going to be sitting in the saddle somewhere. And that's totally fine,
Well, Chris will go on a track.
Oh, yeah,
he'll definitely hammer a track.
Yep.
But he likes to set up, like Tommy said, when
very
he finds them.
strategic.
Yeah, strategic, right.
Which is cool to see because that's not how my brain works. I'm just like, I'm going to go.
Yep.
I'm going until I don't. Like the guy last year, we were hunting a piece up there, and I forget. There's like a 6,000 acre parcel, and then there's like a 10,000 behind it. And of course, we were on track, so we're covering it. We're going, and the guy saw us on the way out. He had done this big loop road that goes around like all these properties, and he's coming out, and he goes, "Who's coming to pick you guys up?" Looked at my feet, and I said, "Oh, hopefully these guys." He goes, "You're like 3 miles from the truck?" And it was dark that time. It was like 4:30. Yeah, we'll make it. And he goes, "Do you want to ride?" Yeah, screw it. We jumped in the back of the truck. He brought us down.
Yeah.
Super cool guy. I'll take a ride whenever.
Oh, yeah.
I'll take a ride.
Well, at first I was like, "Well, I don't want to be a bother." And he's like, "No, come on in." I'm like, we jumped in the truck and away we went, which is cool too. So a lot of times in Maine, you may run into somebody that may need a ride.
Yeah.
Ask them.
Oh, yeah. No, I'll always give somebody a ride.
I feel like hunters too, like I know I go out of my way. If I see somebody walking, like no way I'm driving by them.
Right.
If you're a hunter, like
at least offer,
always offer, always. And I feel like most of the time when I'm heading back walking, you know what I mean? If a hunter drives by, they're gonna stop and ask me.
Right.
I feel like the community is tight enough that we definitely you're gonna get a ride.
Yeah.
It's like the only time you'll get a ride carrying a gun, but
Yeah, exactly.
It seems like though when we're the furthest away, nobody gives us a ride.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Like, coming out of the woods and that guy looked at us like,
Yeah, he looked
Yeah.
like, what the hell are you doing?
we definitely want to ride.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I know you're questioning it. Pull
Yeah.
the truck over.
Yeah.
Because we were 8
9
miles on the
9
blacktop.
miles. Yeah. 9 miles from, it was like 8
Because we
something
cut out right
miles.
before it hit dark.
Yeah, and we were 8 miles from the truck, and I was like, oh, hopefully. We see the orange coming, we're like, they just kind of looked at us and.
that's discouraging,
Yeah,
isn't it?
but
After all day,
Yeah.
9 miles on pavement.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah.
The
but,
worst.
No cell reception, so we couldn't call like my dad or brother or nothing.
Right. But it just kind of gives you that, like, at the end of the day, yeah, it is a super tight community, and everybody will help everybody.
Oh, yeah.
But don't rely on anybody.
Nope.
Like you and your hunting buddy, or if it's just you, rely on you. You got to make sure you can get out, safely all the time.
Yep.
So,
We were sore that day.
I bet.
yeah.
Yep.
Just walking that tar for.
Yeah, that was the worst part of it.
Oh, yeah.
We could be in the woods all day, but walking the road, man, it's like, there's no give, there's no moss to help you with your knees.
Yeah.
Logging trucks coming 100 miles an hour down the hill.
Yeah.
Plus, it's
You're
like
all
just
sweaty,
depressing.
man.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but you get on those ridges, though. You can cover some ground a lot faster than you think,
yeah. And that was cool. Like going up in 2019 was my first year up north, and just seeing, driving up there, I'm like, holy smokes, this is big. You get in the woods, and like you're saying, you can cover ground.
Oh, yeah.
Once you get to the top,
Once you get the lay of the land, you can kind of just work it and move along the way that.
When you follow deer, you'll start going, and then not all the time. When you start following them, sometimes they'll start going around the mountain this way, or go over the top. Next thing you know, like you win
Cut
some
them off.
distance, man. You win some distance, and the easiest. They usually find the easiest route
Right.
too. Like there was times we were hunting, me and Timmy, and trying to figure out how to get up to this piece, and then we're just looking at it like, man, this is a nightmare. But I want to check it out up there, and then we just found a little skipper.
Right.
I don't know what it was. A little small track was heading up in there. And we just followed that thing, and it got us right up to the top, like the better way that we could have thought of. It was the only way.
right.
If we made it, we should be able to make it.
Well, we're so accustomed to going straight.
Yeah.
If you're straight is the fastest way, but it's not always the easiest.
That's right. Yeah, they definitely take you the best ways, seems like.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for part 2 of episode 2, Timmy and George. In part 2, we going to show a slideshow of some bucks taken over the years with Timmy and George. Hope you guys enjoy that. As always, thank you for the support, and we'll see you over there.